Okay, everybody, I'm sitting at the lobby of our hotel, and I thought I would go ahead and send a video update. It's much easier for me to get my point across. Uh, Sorry for my terrible appearance. It's been really hot here and more muggy than home. The air is thick. We have to wear a mask when we're walking around. Um, so, even though I already took a shower, I feel like I need another one. And I'm also tired. Okay, so I had a chance to talk to the cardiologist today because at Kuya, they wanted me to hear it straight from him. And after he explained everything, I do have a clearer understanding, but unfortunately, I didn't take notes. So at the end, he kind of helped me, and he broke it down for me. First of all, some of the things that he explained, like Kuya said, try to explain, is that mom is, an elderly and is, 80 plus years old with a very weak heart, and she's suffering from COPD, like asthma. So you can Google that so you can get a better idea what COPD is. So he also explained that here in the Philippines, it's not like America, where they are taught and they are, their practice here is just management care with the type of conditions moms has, is that they just do a management care instead of um, instead of being aggressive. So basically, it's just to maintain. They're not very aggressive in doing any procedures or anything like that. Where in the United States, they're a lot more aggressive in doing those medical procedures. Um, and he's a very conservative doctor, and he feels right now that this is the way the practice runs here in the Philippines, is just to do a management care for, you know, a patient of mom's age. So here's how he broke it down to me after he explained mom's condition. So number one, he wants to know from us as a family, how aggressive do we want him to be in the treatment? Because it's up to us. He can only make recommendations, and his recommendation right now is just management, because that is the way of the practice here, because there's no insurance. In America, he's saying, you have insurance, you could do all the aggressive surgeries or procedures or whatever, but here it's not like that. So that's his recommendation, but he's obviously gonna do what we want him to do. And if we want him to be aggressive, he can. Mom does suffer an acute exacerbation attack. That's where she feels like she can't breathe. So, number one that he says, here's our choice is, he needs to know how aggressive we want him to be. Number two, he can do an angiogram, but that is something we would have to tell him if we want him to do that. And that's so that he can get a better picture of mom's coronary condition, if there is any blockage or how much is the blockage. That will really determine a lot about, her condition, and then know what he can do. So whatever that outcome is, we also have to address that. If he sees that there is nothing to be concerned, or there is not a serious threat or serious condition out of that angiogram, then he also suggests that we do a flight simulation test. And if she passes, he he will write a clearance for her because he has that angiogram, because that gives him a better, that is the better picture. He's a lot more confident about, the low risk of her flying. But with that, even if she passes, there's a few stipulations that has to go with her going into the flight, and that is she has to bring a nebulizer, and that's something the airlines are not accustomed to. So it's almost, you have to do it discreetly. And with the nebulizer, it's that smoking thing that she does. That machine that gives the compression makes a lot of noise. So I don't even know how we could do that discreetly. And I'm not even sure if the airlines allow nebulizer. She may also need to get oxygen. Now, I Googled before I did this, how patients with COPD travel with oxygen. You're certainly allowed to, but we need to let the airline know that she needs to travel with an oxygen, but then she needs to travel with sufficient oxygen for her to make the flight should she need the oxygen during the flight, which the doctor says, obviously, with an altitude of 32,000 feet, and then the compressed, the compartment, the tightly closed airplane, the oxygen is going to be less. So she most likely will need that oxygen. So that long trip, I don't know how much oxygen she's going to need. Which means the airline will probably have to have us a form to fill out, because they will need that clearance from the doctor, which he will. That's the impression I got. But he probably does need to say she needs to travel with a nebulizer and with an oxygen, and she has to have that prescription. As far as when I Googled stuff about what airlines might need, they're going to need that prescription that she does need that oxygen. Okay, so that's the third option. Of course, he said the fourth option is she stays here forever, which we know is not an option for us. Okay, so those are the four different ways he broke it down for us. So this is my take after talking to him, and I think I understood it a little more of why, when we're saying, well, gosh, she looks stronger, she's walking, and she seems to be doing fine. Why can't she just, if she passes the flight simulation test, why can't she just get on the plane? But we have to address these acute exacerbation attacks that she has every now and then. But it is medically, because there's not enough oxygen in the air, and that is what's going to happen in the plane. So we need to keep that in mind, even though she passes the simulation test. Okay? The other thing too, I thought, on a side note, she does have a follow-up this week, I think Thursday or Friday. And then from that follow-up, I think we'll know a little more whether or not she can do the flight test. But again, that flight test is not going to have the blessings of this cardiologist, because again, you still have to take into consideration her oxygen, intake. So my take is, if she passes the test, mom's gonna expect to come home right away. But she doesn't know. I don't think she knows all these facts. I asked the doctor if he was able to inform mom of her condition. He said, I tried, but she's at that time she was incoherent, and she was too weak. And I don't think she would fully understand anyway. So to me, my take is, I think we need to ask mom how much she wants to know about her condition, because some people, personally, sometimes if I don't know it doesn't, I don't get panic, or I don't get scared. So I think sometimes she may be that type, but then she might be the type that wants to know every detail, so she knows what she needs to work with and what up against. So I think I don't want to just tell her everything, because she may not want to know everything. But I really think she needs to be involved in making the decision on what she wants for her care. Okay, so if she's a little bit more informed, she can be the one that says, yeah, I want the angiogram, yeah, I want this, or I want that. But I think we need to ask her first, but I really think we need to tell her. And then number two, she really, even if she passes the flight test, and even, I really think she really needs to get more stable, and then she needs to get more stronger for the flight. She's made a really good, improvement, and she's progressing, but she is definitely, it's gonna take a little bit more. Realistically, I don't even think she can come home with me at the time when I go, because I really think time is what really needs to be on her side. She needs a little bit more time. And then because she needs a little bit more time, that means she needs to stay here a little bit longer. A little bit longer, I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's another month from now, another 3 months from now, or another 6 months from now. So let's say, obviously, 3 to 6 months, that's a long time to stay in this hotel. It's been very difficult to even try to find things to eat for her that's healthy. All there is around here is fast food, and there are stuff in the cafeteria at the hospital, but there's certain things she can't eat because she is diabetic, and then and then the low sodium and all that, and they're usually not that friendly with those kind of. I don't know how much they can accommodate. You would think in a hospital they would accommodate people with high blood pressure and diabetes and all that stuff, but they're not like that here. So we're gonna have to talk about like a semi long-term care stay while she fully recovers or fully gain her strength, so that maybe she's not gonna depend so much on an oxygen or a nebulizer that makes the traveling a little bit more easy. Let me take a break because I just had a thought. One of the things that the doctor said, even if she passes the flight test, and then he, with his form filled out, the airlines isn't going to care. They're going to dump her at Korea or Japan for a layover, and you're really on your own, until you go to the next flight. So that's why, like I said, he's a very conservative doctor, and I just think he thinks it's too complicated to do all that. But he's comfortable if nothing shows up on that angiogram. Okay, so getting back to the long-term care or semi-long-term care while she's here, because she can't stay here at the hospital, and Kuya does all the running around here. I stay behind. I keep after her meds, and I help Greg with her. And then we have to be creative as far as what she can eat and what she's in the mood for. And sometimes our choices are very limited. We're trying to find snacks for her so she can eat every 2 hours to keep her, be sustained. That's even a challenge. So, Kuya's been running around, and I've been staying in to just do what we need to do. So they still need someone. I mean, Greg stays with her, helps her, and he's actually still on top of the medication too. But for the most part, he does a lot, with my help. Which brings me to that point of, I think it's inevitable that they're going to have to be somewhere where they are close to family. Unless, and the only way it's going to happen is if someone comes here indefinitely to look after them until mom is strong enough to fly. Whether that's 3 months, 6 months. I'm thinking it's not gonna, 3 months may do it. I don't know. But why I say it's inevitable, I don't know if, Kuya can stay here 6 months. Let's say it's 6 months. And I certainly can. No one else can. So Greg can't have anybody if they stay here. So I know this sounds like, but the more I'm thinking, they need to be around somewhere that people can do the running around for them. So with the semi long term, they really need to be in like a condo or an apartment where there's a kitchen and they could cook. And that's someone that needs to cook for them. Greg could probably cook for the most part, so it's not a big deal. But there's errands to run and all this. Now, the reason why I say inevitable that they need to stay around family, I'm comfortable with that idea only if it's just to recover, that she's not going to need to run to the hospitals anymore to do, tests or anything like that. It's just so that she can, recuperate fully. I think, she shouldn't leave, Quezon City here in Manila right away. I'm talking after she is on that road to recovery just to fly. After all her doctor's appointments or after she's done all the tests, so that she doesn't have to keep coming back here. She may have to come back here one more time before she flies out. But I know I'm the very first one to be against going to Bulacan. And I'm not changing my mind about that. But I'm just saying, realistically, once she's done, they really need someone or family to be around to help them with stuff. Greg can't do it all. So they need to be near Myra. They need to be near their family so they could do the groceries for them, or they could, help them clean the house, stuff like that. And then my last thing, I think, is that the cost of the apartment, of everything else. I think I told Kuya this today, that somehow he's going to have to communicate to Greg that we're going to have to dip into her retirement money. Now, as family, we will help financially. It's not about that. I know that we would do that in a heartbeat. But there's a reason why mom has retirement, is so that she can sustain herself with these situations, medical or care. And then, if for any reason, she doesn't have that anymore, yeah, we're not going to hesitate to step in. But at this point, she has that. So we need to communicate that with Greg, that we need to dip into her, somehow, access money so they could live here temporarily until they can fly home. Because I certainly, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to volunteer us to help them financially, and not that we can't, and not that we don't want to, but I think that's the reason why, we are trying to protect her, her money, so that it's there for her, what do you call this, for her quality of life. And that means whether it's medically or getting this condo, because somebody's going to have to pay for that, so that's my personal take. I'm not getting that from anyone else, or I'm not being influenced. And I certainly hope you guys don't think I'm being insensitive even talking about the finances, but we have to address that. So I hope you guys have a better clear. I know it's confusing, or I know you think like, oh wow, it's encouraging, she's making progress each day. But last night was a little bit of setback, and that's something we have to address, and we have to be realistic that that could happen to her. When we took her, I thought at first it was about fear or that she was nervous, but when we took her oxygen level reading, I mean, she was in the low 80s, and she needs to be at least 90 and above for her oxygen. And so she had a valid reason of what she was feeling, that she needed to be fanned, and that's why we gave her the oxygen. We only gave her a little bit, just enough to help her, and we had her have that till the morning. Once the morning came, we took it off, and we monitored her reading throughout the day, and she was fine. She didn't need the oxygen. So we just never know when those, what he calls, the exacerbation attack, we don't know. So I need your take on this. I need you guys to give me feedback. Number one, I think the number one thing is, we need to ask mom. I don't know. What do you guys think? I really think that she needs to be informed so she knows what's going on. But also, we need to let her know, how much she wants to know. I want to be sensitive to that because, she may not want to hear all that. And then it'll make her depressed, or it'll make her, oh man, I got to be here more, whatever. So maybe you guys have suggestions on how to break it to her. Because we certainly can't leave her blind, because she has in her mind that she thinks that she could leave here right away when she passes. But, she's like, I want to walk today. I want to, like I said, she said last night, we need to say it out loud. We're going to come back home. We're going to come back home, you know. But there's a lot more technical stuff to it than just that, than her just being able to walk and her just being able to, these attacks can't happen on the plane. Okay? So email me what you guys think. And right now, I think we're just going to Skype you guys whenever we think she has the strength to do it. It was just too much yesterday when we tried to Skype everybody, and it does wear on you when you try to be upbeat and you're trying to have conversations with your children and grandchildren, and I'm going to tell her that. I'm going to say, they're not Skyping you because I told them not to. I don't want her to think that no one's checking up on her, but I'm going to tell her that I'm limiting the Skyping just to save her energy, and I'll say, they want to Skype you every moment if they can, but so that she understands that. I'm not sure if I can answer questions because I'm relating to you how I understood it and how that doctor broke it down for me, okay? So I hope this helps. I hope you guys have an understanding that her just being able to be able to walk a little bit, or she passes the flight test, is the answer, but it's really not that easy, not the way the doctor explained it, okay? All right, love you all.